The Shoebox by Sloan. Five. 4 hours until midnight. I am in my room watching the shadows of the past as if my life is a flip book to be thumbed through. So I invert time and sit like a wren on my windowsill and feel the muddled gray wisps of ghosts shifting around my room. Myself at age 5 dancing to silent music and scribbling on the floor, age 10 lying and regretting and sewing ballet shoes on Gran's quilt, age 12, 13 humming, bleeding, 14 embracing, whispering, 15 waiting, 16 knitting, 17, 18 grieving. At 19, I sit like a wren and become a ghost, again and again and again, constantly eclipsed by time, watching the world regenerate and bend towards midnight. The last sliver of indigo on the horizon, which beckons the eastern stars that flicker in the shadows beyond probing fluorescent street lamps, is barely visible behind the inky silhouettes of trees. I turn left on Cottage Street and imagine myself from above, a perpendicular vector tracing rectangles into the sidewalk, a streak of green against the gray. The neighborhood is folded into a clumsy glacial embrace. The cragged western face of East Rock, with rocky jags that create the impression of a perennial frown, glows deep copper now as the sun descends into dark veils of clouds. The rock curves like a waxing moon around the gridded streets punctuated by lighted windows, each pane of glass framing a rectangular life and casting orange shadows into the heavy twilight. A motorcycle revs, a dog barks. That vague world outside the neighborhood thrums. The air is thick with the grief of passing time. What is lost in its brevity? It is December and a feud from the summit of East Rock. The neighborhood seems as if it could be lifted with both hands and placed in a shoebox, lid gently closed against the blue dusk and tied with brown twine, hidden in an attic to collect dust. I am lifted by an invisible hand and dropped into the cosmos. Time has no topography. Here and there are the same intersections of the X and Y axes. The vacuum shrivels and folds and flutes and tangles space. I hold my hands in front of me as if to confirm my aliveness and find myself suspended in all directions, an infinite inkwell studded with pinpricks of light like distant lanterns. These are stars. This is the universe. I am somewhere in this strange kaleidoscope diminishing into zero. I feel space compounding, multiplying a note of music that grows higher in pitch until it reaches throbbing silence. This is the bending of the universe, and I am bending with it. Body twisted, axes warped, time transposed.
Whatever you want to do.
I don't know, I don't care.
Oh no.
You want water with or without
Spark. No, that's awesome. I'm gonna start saying that.
So there's we also have Sprite in the car.
Okay.
If you like.
I have some water outside.
Oh, you have some outside? Oh, okay.
Do you like sparkling water?
I do.
I don't. I don't like it with spark. It's too sparky.
And some sparky.
Yeah.
Two. 10:30 in the evening. An arch of white pine across the door, which creaks as it swings shut behind another bundled guest, signals my arrival. I stoop under the curved doorframe, mittened hands grasping the brass knob, and am folded into an embrace that smells like argan oil and beeswax. It is New Year's Eve. Eliza, with a frizzed halo of gray hair and pale eyes that tease with aged aliveness, is a flurry of pink ribbon. Her glasses hang loosely around her neck, and she wears a fluid dress the color of ivy, which drips from her chair and collects in green pools around her stockinged feet. I sit and laugh and rest my elbow on the wooden table where beeswax drips from candles into molded heaps. The 15 guests are gathered around a single table overflowing with plates of food. A platter of black-eyed peas from Eliza, a jar of apple butter from Rohan, a Dutch oven that swells with Rose's round loaf of sourdough which she spent all last night baking. My fists are still sore as she announces with a malty sigh, leaning past me and towards the floral tablecloth for another fizzing glass. The windows, which are draped in wreaths of pine from the trees in Eliza's yard, fog against the heavy night. I laugh alongside the revelers, but I feel something pulsing in my chest like the resonance of a minor key, a fear. What is it? Maybe that time is always slipping, that we raise glasses and write resolutions again, measuring seconds with the ticking of our small hearts, as if nothing is lost in the space of a year. That 15 people sit around a table and breathe while some distant purple galaxy gyrates. That Rose kneads bread and stirs a steaming pot of peas, while a black hole throbs in the emptiness. Time is too discordant, too impossible in this strange world of opposites. What is 19 years of regretting, waiting, whispering, grieving against it all? I fear my own brevity as I laugh, my chest aching, my hand clasped around a green glass with leaf carvings, watching the dripping beeswax and flurry of ribbon. Tomorrow the walls of the house on Cottage Street will sigh with remembering. A couch drooping under the weight of absence will sit in the corner near Rose's old school pictures and unsteady stacks of art books. The face of Van Gogh will stare starkly from an open page where fingers once traced. On the opposite side of the room, facing the tall windows with beeswax candles on their sills, which were blown out long ago, curious eyes watching the tendrils of smoke that curled towards the ceiling, the dining room will wait in shadow. A wooden table will hold everything usually forgotten. Torn slips of paper containing old resolutions, a canning jar of bottle corks, an empty green glass with leaf carvings, a silver spoon face down, an unwound spool of pink ribbon, a dried sprig of white pine, a dozen strewn streamers. Floors creaking, with a mug of sage tea held between hands, and footsteps muffled by thick woolen socks, Eliza will shuffle through the shivering room. 1. Eliza, distributing a bouquet of colorful streamers and cradling a ticking army clock in the cranny of her elbow, sways wildly as she stands on a rickety wooden chair between Eli and Asami, who dutifully study her. We are 20 seconds away from midnight. 15 seconds now, Eli declares, craning his neck and lifting his fizzed glass fervently, as if in prayer. The room clusters and breathes as a single body, dilated with waiting. Suddenly a burst of voices. 10, 9, 8. Eliza is a waterfall of ivy as she towers over the pool of lifted glasses and colorful streamers. 6, 5. A bowl of salted pecans, knocked over by a stray arm, flies from the table and sends a ripple of suppressed laughter. 3. I am there too. My glass raised, my throat fizzing, my chest blown open. I am there too. 2. 1. Watching like a wren and eclipsed by time, measuring the final second of childhood as my family huddles like a gasping body, and I stand alone. I am there. I am. I was. Thrusting my brazen chest into the new year as the universe bends towards zero.